Welcome back everybody to HR Headlight Restoration, where we're actually showing you how to put in a pressure washer system into our RV show hauler. What we've done so far is we've put the tanks together, we figured out where we're going to mount them and run the tanks in between the two frame rails in the very back of the RV. So we have enough room by putting them side by side. So now what we have to do is make a cradle system for it to sit in out of metal, so they can't move, slosh around. Any bumps we're going to hit, that they're going to be fully secure. So we've picked up some L angle off to the side here that we're going to cut and make the frame base. Once we get the frame base together and welded, then we'll jump on to the next stage of mounting them up into the bottom to stage them up ready for all of our plumbing fittings to be hooked up. So let's take off over here and get going on cutting. Okay, so now the point that we're at now, we've got the frame together, welded the frame. Now we have to have something to set onto the frame or underneath it to span between the two boxes that are underneath the truck. And later on, you'll actually, when we pull this over and put it up, you'll actually see what I'm talking about. I've already went underneath and I determined between frame and frame, I need 50.5 inches metal cut. We're gonna do 3 rails. So it kind of picks up any tank. If the water was to sag in the center, it's gonna stop it from going down below. Also give us our support all the way across the bottom to tie it into our 2 boxes. Once we have this frame done, we're gonna end up putting it underneath and figuring out how we're gonna mount it to the bottom frame, because I don't wanna take all the support from the water and the rails and the frame and everything just off the bottom boxes that we built. I know they're fairly strong, but this is probably going to be, you know, a couple 300 pounds just in water and metal. So I'm going to want to pick it up and tie it right into the rear frame structure of the big rig. So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to cut these at 50.5, get them set up. Then we'll bring the frame over. We'll go under and I'll show you underneath how it's going to set up. Move, we're going to cut some beams to put across the top, and one beam that will run from inside rail to inside rail, and then tie it into this. So the tanks will be secured solid within the frame, and even though it's sitting on our side boxes, most of the weight will be carried from our main frame. So if it does hit a bump, the pressure isn't being transferred straight to my boxes. It's going to be carried mainly from our frame. So we just have to go out now, cut these last ones, and get ready to start welding everything in underneath. So now I'm going to show you where we're sitting at with now. We have got the 2 brackets on each sides of the tank to hold the tanks in place and solid. So it's going to basically allow us to clamp the top tanks down to the bottom frame, but picking up the weight off the main frame. So if you look up here, you'll see that on the main frames, We want most of that weight to be taken from that, so it's not directly transferring to my side boxes in case you hit a big bump and it starts ripping the boxes down on the side of the truck. So we've got the frames done, they're being painted now. So we are now at that point where they're out being painted, and I'm gonna start doing some plumbing. We're in a really tight spot, so it's kind of hard to show you exactly what we're gonna do it in time. But as you see, we have our 2 tanks, and we've got our fillers that have to be hooked up, our vent tubes up on top that have to be hooked up. So when you fill up the tanks, they're not creating air locks, so they're allowed to vent, as well as in the bottom you'll see a line here, and see if you can see it here, a line here and a line beside. So there's 4 lines coming out. We're going to take one line to the opposite line of the other tank, and that's just in a loop to allow both tanks, when they fill up, to equal each other, and when they're being drained they stay equal. So you're not going to pull from one tank and then all of a sudden it's like we still got a whole bunch in one tank, or we have to switch over. We want to basically make it so we never have to really come under here and look at it. It's just a matter of filling them both out with water. They're going to equal each other, and they're going to drain together at the same time. So having the 4 right here side by side is really nice, because it allows us to plumb one to the other, keeps our tanks equal, and then we'll have 2 lines coming out that will tee together. That's going to feed the pump to the pressure washer. And then after the pump, sorry, we're going to have our line coming from our other pump, from our other 2 tanks that are on the onboard on the trail or on the big rig. And in case these ever drain out and we don't have any water, we can just turn a valve, turn the pump on the main system of the truck, and use the water that it has in it as well, so we don't have to worry about running out of water. Or at least we know if these 2 come down, it's okay, we got to try to get this done, because we don't want to use all the water in the whole rig when we're out at a show. So, but at least it gives us the option of, okay, we've run out of water, but we still have to finish half a side. We can just flip over by turning a valve and turn on the pump on the rig, and it will funnel water to the pressure washer as well. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start plumbing it. As you can see here on the bottom on the floor, I think here, you'll see that we have some of the fittings already Teflon taped to go into the tank, and we're going to be using PEX pipe, which is so much easier than using anything else, and it allows it to have some movement without any cracking or breaking. A lot of these tanks, they only use plastic fittings and then clamps, but I go a little bit further and use PEX pipe and make sure that they're more solid. They're not going to be so much prone to leaks, last longer as well. So I'm going to start doing all the plumbing, and then I'll come back to it and show you how we kind of plumb this together. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for our next videos. We'll be showing you more of how we get this pressure washer system into this big old RV, and how it works, and everything that we came into, like little problems, everything like that, how we overpass them. And if you like these videos, be sure to like the video and subscribe to see more.